you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird, and I'm here to do a review of the brand new release, Borderlands. And yeah, this is not really a horror movie, but it is based on a video game that's been running for quite a while. I did a few Let's Plays of it on the channel way back in the day. Can't remember if it was, I think it might have been Borderlands 3 that we did. Maybe Andrew Mercer and I did some. But I've been a fan of the Borderlands franchise since the second game. When it came out, I played it and I loved it, so I went back and played the first game, and then of course I played the third game, which was unfortunately pretty lackluster. I did not do the one that was right after that. I did do the Handsome Jack one. God, I get lost into how many there ultimately were. But the only one I didn't play was the Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Although I was tempted because the Tiny Tina expansion for Borderlands 2 was one of the best expansions of all time. So, yeah, that's my history with the games. So I definitely have a strong familiarity with the franchise, and I was excited about the prospect of a Borderlands movie, but especially with Eli Roth at the helm, you know. He just did Thanksgiving last year, and that was very well received. We enjoyed it very much here on the channel. So I was hoping, you know, he was going to deliver on this. Unfortunately, not so much. I was not a big fan of Borderlands, you guys, and I'll get into the reasons why. But yeah, my overall thoughts are that this one can definitely be skipped or waited until wait until streaming to watch it, because there's no reason to rush out and see this. The spectacle on a big screen isn't even worth it. Like, there's nothing that's that cool or unique. The biggest spectacle was shown in one of the trailers, and that spectacle was pretty much aped from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So it yeah, it was just very lackluster overall, and like I said, I'll get into all the reasons why here, you know, starting with the story itself, which was, I guess, it was just very thin. We follow Cate Blanchett playing Lilith, and I'll get into the actors here in a minute and why I think that's a big suffering point for this film, in spite of the names. Cate Blanchett plays Lilith, who is forced to return to her home world of Pandora, where there's a vault that nobody has been able to find the keys for or open since it was first, hypothesized to be on Pandora. And so, but Lilith was sent back to the planet as a bounty hunter mission to try and rescue a young girl that's been sprung from a laboratory facility. She doesn't know why, doesn't really care to know why, but she ends up going because a obscene amount of money is thrown her way. So when she gets down there, she links up with not only the little girl who ends up being Tiny Tina, but also Krieg and Roland, played by Kevin Hart. So as well as Claptrap, who is played by Jack Black in this film. So that's, I mean, and then they all are basically sent on a journey to the vault after trying to find the keys for it. And that's the long and short of the film. You don't really know exactly all the reasons as to why everyone's doing what they're doing, but that's the trajectory of the movie, and I won't get any further than that because this is a non-spoiler review. But I will say that it was not, I mean, it was a very straightforward story that was not that interesting. I mean, the characters, unfortunately, weren't that interesting as far as this. I mean, a lot of the problems were in the script here. And there's a story that I don't know how true it is or not, but Craig Mazin, who was behind Chernobyl, was one of the original writers on this film, and apparently once Eli Roth took over, so many changes were made that Craig Mazin actually asked to have his name removed from the film. So he is no longer in the credits of the film, and I don't blame him if this is the direction that they went. So that is the that's the story and how it plays out. Let's get into the acting, because again, I think that this is one of the major faults of the movie. I guess if you're not familiar with the games, you won't have as big a problem with this as I do, but I'm not the only one. And the casting is crazy here. Jack Black for Claptrap is not bad. Like, he actually works okay. But besides him, we got, of course, Cate Blanchett playing Lilith. Cate Blanchett is 55, you guys. Lilith is a late 20s, maybe early 30s character at the most. And then we got Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Tannis, who is supposed to be, you know, a pretty nerdy sort of tech geek that's also in the games, in my opinion, you know, in her late 20s. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis being 65, it just, it didn't fit for me. And then even Kevin Hart playing Roland, he just doesn't fit the archetype for this film. And I get that actors try and stretch their legs every now and again, but it's this one doesn't work. You know, he tries to play the straight man action hero, but he's, you know, he's a small dude. He's a very built dude, but, you know, you don't see any of that here. It's all under wardrobe, so he's just a small dude that they're playing like this big action hero, and it just doesn't work. And again, Roland is maybe in his 30s. Definitely not 45. So, like, all of these things, it just feels like it was all stunt casting for no reason. Like, it didn't serve the story in any way. Like, the acting is fine, but it's not, like, I don't understand how this talent was okay with this script anyway. Like, it feels like they must have gotten roped in with a better script, or the, you know, involvement of Craig Mazin, and then he ditched and they're stuck there. But I don't know, I think the casting was a big misstep for the film. I thought Ariana Greenblatt as Tiny Tina was okay, but everyone was held back by the script. Like, there was not nearly I didn't laugh out loud once. I like smiled at one part, maybe half smile at another part, but I did not laugh at all. And the dialogue was just substandard. The jokes that Claptrap had were just not funny. And, you know, the worlds, like, it's just, the whole thing wasn't good. It wasn't funny. Getting into the filmmaking, I mean, it was kind of silly. It was so mediocre, run-of-the-mill, just standard things, standard filmmaking, nothing special, nothing that interesting. I took note of the fighting being very choppy, you know, very, very edited. So it didn't feel like there was a lot of really good choreo for the brief fights that we got. There was nothing that special about the shooting sequences, you know. I mean, it's a fucking first-person shooter. Very well-known first-person shooter that relies heavily on the first-person shooting aspect. And the shooting was just substandard. It was so uninteresting. It was like, anyone that knows video games, this Borderlands movie is the rage of video games. So very, very small amount of people will understand what I'm going for there. It's just big and unnecessary and unoriginal. You know, everything works fine, but it's all not great. Hence rage. So it's another video game by the people that made Doom, if anyone's curious. So yeah, that's the filmmaking, the sound design, the score. I mean, the soundtrack was okay. A couple of fun songs. I was really hoping they would have used Shortchange Hero, which was heavily used in the marketing for Borderlands 2, but unfortunately they didn't. You know, a couple of the songs were fine, but there are songs that we've seen used dozens of times in other movies and probably more effectively. So that didn't really do it for me. The score itself wasn't that interesting or engaging. I mean, it was a standard action movie score, I guess, but I don't recall any particular piece from it. And then the effects, right? There's lots of CG, guys. Lots of CG effects. And I kind of feel like it didn't assist in much. There was CG tentacles at a couple of parts, and then otherwise it was just CG gore at times, but it's PG-13, so not even really that. Definitely not a very gory PG-13 movie, and Borderlands is, you know, it's a first-person shooter where people get exploded. It is a very gory game, even though it's cel-shaded gore. It was still very gory, and they completely sidestepped that. Eli Roth, once again, he sidesteps gore, and it doesn't make sense because he's so good with gore. Thanksgiving being an optimum example of it. That's why I wanted to see his version of the Meg movie that we never got to see, because I felt like we could have gotten some gore in that one. But no, alas, here we are. And yeah, guys, that's as much as I really want to say about Borderlands. It is not worth your time or money to go to the theater to see. Just wait till it hits streaming. It won't be that long. I give it 3 weeks max before you can rent it on VOD, and probably another 3 weeks after that before it's streaming and dumped onto Max or some shit like that, because it's just not fun. It's not like you wanted this movie to be fun, and that's what it wasn't. It wasn't funny. It's not fun. It's not funny, and it's not worth your time, frankly. But that's just me. I hate giving negative reviews on this channel because, you know, it's not great to do, but I gotta be honest with you guys, and it's just not a good time. The reviews are what they are for a reason with this one, unfortunately. Morbid Curiosity didn't even save it. So if you guys see it, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, though. I greatly appreciate it, especially if you've gotten this far into the review. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird, and remember, stay scared.